All right, we're going to call this meeting to order of the Animal Control Ad Hoc. And Mr. Janelle, would you mind giving us a question?
Ms. Fellerhead, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you today for coming and bringing us all together for this very important meeting. Not only is our committee an important aspect of the community, but in the life of many, many people and their animals, and they support and provide a great deal of comfort to many, many people. Furry friends to be able to do your will, Lord, because they are also creatures that you have brought forth. We ask you, Lord, to give us safe passage as we all go home, and give us the knowledge we need to conduct our lives. And we ask this through all of your Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the minutes. Anybody want to move? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, recognition of the public. David, you're up. State your name and your address.
My name is David Arlen. I reside at 231 Chippewa Drive in Gallatin. Normally Kathy's here, and she's on a road trip again. Business trip tonight, and I will speak on her behalf. But I'm speaking for both of us, because I always go over what she puts down. I hope she doesn't get mad at me for saying this before I do that, but having attended the commissioners meeting that was a couple of weeks ago and covered this committee, I'm hoping that those present here can convey to the other members how important that these are. Being new to the area, just 4 years, seeing the involvement of the people here that are interested in this, what we're trying to do, and seeing all the new houses getting built all around us, as new people come in with animals, wanting animals, and how they can help. It is so important that they understand that this is something for everybody, and it's them representing the public that vote for them, that they support and serve, that they can see the importance of what we're trying to do together. And I see the more that we have, the better team we have, and we can be in first place. So let's go for that. And I thank you and all you who attend those meetings can get, hey, these people really care about what's going on here. Let's go ahead and do it all together. Now, on to other things here. Great. I lost what to do. Refresh my phone. The one thing I'm not good about this, but that Kathy is these little things. Here we go. Thanks again to all the committee members for their continued work on this important initiative. We are pleased with committee member Joe Matthews' report out from the last meeting, and we look forward to hearing a progress report on the exciting planned changes. However, capital letters too, we are concerned about why the ad hoc committee was placed on the Health and Emergency Management agenda on 6/3 with no notice or context, especially in light of the fact that no other commissioners have attended any of our meetings or, to our knowledge, asked for reporting or information. We are concerned that there may be an effort to stop the work or silence the public effort. Additionally, we have recently heard of some cruelty cases which were not taken as seriously as pictures we received would indicate should have been more seriously investigated. We are not sure if these were Sumner County cases or city animal control officers. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share our concerns.
Thank you. Okay, Marlis.
Hi, I'm Marlis Boyd, 1060 Glenbrook Way in Hendersonville. And I'm here because I care about the animals with animal control, and I'm also interested in volunteering if that becomes available. I see progress being made within this ad hoc committee, and so I'm asking that it continues to meet and to help the animals within our county.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public speaking. For the chair, I'll just take this time to address something that was brought up just now in the recognition of the public. I too was shocked that it was put on the Health Emergency Services, because I would think something like that would come from me or any of the other commissioners here, and it was a surprise that it was on there. So if any of you had a chance to see Health and Emergency Services, you will get a chance to see how I responded to that. There's good work being done by this committee, by the Sheriff's Department, and things have been going very well between the both groups and also with the public. And I don't want that to stop, especially not until we see the full implementation of what Dr. Pazan and Team Shelter has proposed, because the Sheriff's Department was very agreeable to all of the proposals, and it was encouraging to hear. But there are some things out there, I'm saying this for public record, for you guys know this, but for the public also and everybody listening, that are contingent upon the budget being passed, and that's coming up in a couple of months, probably sometime in July or maybe even August at the latest. So some of the changes are very contingent upon that budget to see how things are going to work out. So I would not have put that on the agenda for even discussion until we see the results of that. Just to ease the public's mind a little bit on that, and also for any commissioners that may be watching, I'd encourage them to come join, because there is some good work being done here, and it's rare that you see different branches of government or departments working together so well. This has been a true positive. I've heard that there are lots of smiles, and people are satisfied with the direction we're going, but people still recognize that there is work to do, and are excited to see what is to come. So with that being said, I'll conclude my report with that.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
So I wasn't here, I wasn't to that meeting. Was there any indication of why it was put on there? I mean, was there any rationale, any reasoning given?
The chairman, if you know, going.
All I heard him say was, it started in August and it's been long enough.
No, that's just a stupid reason.
I'm not going to comment on that, but I believe that's what
Well, what is it today?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was stated by the chairman that it had been a period of time, and they wanted to see what the will of the body of the Health Emergency Services was. And basically my response was to come see, start paying attention to the work that's being done. Don't just ask to see if we're done, take notice and see what we're doing. We had some comments from public speakers that came up to give props to both organizations that are working on this committee.
Should we send out a copy of the minutes of the meeting?
It's available. I mean, it's fully available on the county website. They have access to it. If they're interested, they will take notice. I just hope that they are interested.
That was his concern with the sunshine law, and so I said, well, we can send that to you, again, you haven't even taken initiative.
To be clear on that, and I mentioned it during the meeting too, sunshine laws are about having discussions that lead to votes, to try to gain votes for one side or another of a subject. Talking about how something's going is not any violation of the sunshine law, and that terminology is used and abused too much, and it's a fear tactic, and I'm not gonna have it, so. We said our piece, and I think they're willing to let things go and not even discuss it again until after the budget comes out and we see changes, so let's not worry about that for now.
Concern is, many of them, people here don't realize that in September, we change over committees, and we may not be on the same committee. It depends on the will of the committee on committee, whoever's appointed to that. So my concern is that if there's a lack of communication or lack of view of what we're doing and the good things we're doing, you know, there may be people that say, no, we don't like it. You know, and I have a great deal of concern about that, because this is one of the best committees that I have seen as far as working together, citizens, sheriff's department, commissioners, trying to get to the bottom of something that we all can benefit from. And I think it's absolutely imperative, because if anything, the citizens will drive this, because this is a driving force. We're all impacted by animals, and we want what's good. I'm not sure, you know, there's a motive here, and I don't understand it.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I'm making a note, and I'll ask Lieutenant Matthews, he may have some insight on this. I'm making a note here to ask our law director, what is the fate of ad hoc committees after committees are set in September? Do they continue on in perpetuity, or does the committees responsible for setting them pull them back or reevaluate? Do you know from experience?
From experience, yeah, just like each committee can be reset when it's time, same thing with your subcommittees.
So is it an automatic trigger? What do we want to do with the new committee?
Yeah, then
Okay.
we would be under the new committee's determination at that point to see if they're willing to continue with the ad hoc committee or not. And that's just what you go through.
Well, with that being said, I appreciate you bringing that up. That was not, I didn't even think about that. But it is worth considering. So the public would just be aware of that in September when new committees are set, that there possibly could be some changes made that are beyond our control, but as long as the public is still engaged, hopefully the commissioners will do the will of the people.
Right.
That's the way government's supposed to work.
I guess, I mean, my question is, what does it take away from the emergency management if there's an ad hoc?
The emergency committee, health emergency service.
What does it take from them that they're concerned about good things that we're trying to do?
More than likely, it'll keep going unless there is a vote on the health emergency services to take it out, and then in which case I would hope there would be an explanation, or at least during the discussion of whether they wanted to take a vote, it would be known as to why to dissolve it. And I will pledge to try to get that answer if that happens.
So we need to stay ahead of it, because we would need all the support of the community and everybody to make them understand that how important it is, because, you know, I'm on a couple of ad hoc committees, you know, work full time, and I do a lot of things, and I serve proudly on all of those. I mean, I'm the chairman of the opioid abatement committee. That's been going on for 18 years. So, I mean, I always, like Mr. Hyde says, if you don't like what I'm doing, then you can do it yourself. But I think everybody at this table has done, from bottom line, from the bottom to now where we are, has done measurable things. To think about what we were a year ago and where we are today, it's fascinating. And you don't see that very often. And I just hope that they understand that, because it is, and Tim, you've done a wonderful, Mr. Chairman Jones,
Everybody else.
you have done a great job of steering it and keeping everybody in line, and all of us. So I was very, very surprised to even hear that. And I thought, come on now, people.
It'll be all right. We'll keep it going. But it is good to let the public know that, and I'll echo that I'm on 4 committees, plus this ad hoc committee, have a full-time job. And, Joe, you know, this young man, $500 a month, you know, plus traipsing around for 5 hours in creeks in Cottontown trying to fix flood issues. I'm earning about $1 an hour on that.
I think I'm
50 cents an hour on this job.
But it's okay.
But it's worth it. I mean, as long as the public keeps driving it, we'll keep on doing it. But we depend on the public because they're the information soldiers that are out there.
And then the people that are paying.
Yep, they're paying for it. So, okay. Any more on that? We're gonna move on to old business. So, animal control budget, that was left on there because it keeps coming up in our discussion and because the budget is out there, we left that on there. So, I'll open the floor for discussion on 7A.
So say, and I like I say, I've been out of little pocket because of personal stuff, but, we had asked for 3 volunteers for the 2, I thought we had.
You talking to us or Sheriff's Department?
For the shelter.
For the shelter, for 3 volunteers for the front,
Okay.
for more ability to get people engaged, you know, the options and all that. So am I understanding that we went down to 2?
So, what?
No, volunteers or workers? Volunteers. Workers, I'm sorry, workers.
Address questions here just for proper protocol, and then I don't know, I know he can fill in also, but from what I know from talking to Deputy Chief Craddock, they took the allotment of the money that we had suggested for veterinary services, which was $140,000. That one came from Dr. Pizan, Team Shelter, to change it to use that for other things that were higher up on the list than a vet, than a full-time vet.
Right.
And it turned into 2 part-time people to work the front that are not Sheriff's Department employees, and using the lower salaries, we've enabled them to get 2 people plus that was half of the $140,000, and then the other $70,000 was going to be for veterinary supplies and shots
And spay neuters and.
to add the spay neuter and everything like that. So they're repurposing the amount that we suggested, or the Dr. Pizan suggested to use it for those things. That's what I keep talking about is so key in coming up with the budget to see if we can get these things done. Now, that being said, a question came up from a constituent that asked me, they had heard, and I can't remember if you reported it last month or not, is the current practice already in place that we're vaccinating?
Yes. Fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated already. Okay, and spay and neuter?
Like I said, I know they're continuing with talks with Sarah. I don't know where they got on that, but they are making with the Kentucky, spay neuter program and stuff like that, yeah.
So they have a backup plan, they have 2 people in mind for that, but is either
Plus-
one taking place at this time?
I would have to ask Chris to see exactly what they're on.
Can you put that on your notes just to report back next month on that?
I could make a phone call.
Well, I can actually permission to suspend the rules, ask for permission to go and take a motion to suspend the rules and go on that suspend the rules to ask if we have somebody in the audience that can probably answer that.
Yeah, we do
Make a
have one
motion.
person.
All right, we got a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor? Where are we at that time?
Sarah, you got,
I haven't talked to anybody.
okay, since last,
Who would have contacted me?
it would have been Chris and Eric.
Okay, we talked, June and I talked to them, that's when we talked about Team Shelter coming in at all, kind of started. But since then, I haven't been contacted.
So no spay or neuters yet have been happening?
Now, we get a lot that you adopt, that then come after the fact.
Okay, so still the same old ways
Yes, I
right
mean,
now?
nothing directly again.
Okay,
Because I know years ago, we wrote that letter,
Mhm.
and I believe everything has been addressed that was in the letter,
Mhm.
which is wonderful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I was just gonna get back with you to try to set up the specifics,
Well,
because, you know, if I might talk, your schedule is, you know, everybody in the world's coming to you, so you only got so many spaces and so many things,
yeah,
so I don't know
although
if they address
we
that.
sort of leveled out now
Oh,
because
good.
we've made some adjustments. So we're at a place we could definitely talk about that again.
Could I ask you, and I did ask, to, reach out to, Deputy Chief Craddock, or, Lieutenant Tarlaki, or?
Yeah, I can have Lieutenant call you.
And
Yeah.
you,
I can call you tomorrow.
I was
Thank
gonna
you.
give you the same, you
I'll be
y'all
there.
get together and maybe give us a report next month on the status of the, spay and neuters.
Okay.
So
And, yes,
I had something to
yes,
say.
Commissioner Moore, yes.
So I remember when Team Shelter was here, one of the items that I did look at was I thought there was a piece in there that I was going to see in the charitable donations. I thought it was suggested, I saw like 13,500 that we were gonna look for charitable donations, but that wasn't in we have two pieces of that in our budget, and it wasn't in the first piece, and I know, the deadline for the next piece is coming up, and whether that works out or not, I wanna make you aware that that's coming up, and I think you've been in that, category before in the past, but not in the recent years.
So typically they've
Are you
been,
talking about county funding?
Yeah, county funding.
Yeah.
Are you in the
Well,
charity bucket?
I believe, oh gosh, county, is it 5,000?
I'm not sure.
5,000 from the county?
yes,
So-
but there was an amount
Team
prior.
Shelter was suggesting we up that to 13.
Right,
For you.
because, just as an example, Wilson County government gives the Wilson County $250,000 a year. That may have gone up now.
Mhm.
Davidson gives 100, Rutherford County, funds, I think it's 200,000. So,
Mhm.
you know, that's all a big part of animal control, and we would appreciate, you
Mhm.
know, the contribution.
Yeah.
So a part of that, Commissioner Boyd, was, I believe they used to just get it out of the charitable contributions. Part of it is that they applied for each year, and it was a suggestion of, Deputy Chief Craddock to, make it a permanent budget thing, to take out of, don't we do like 100,000 in
Yes, and that's the piece I'm talking about, but
charity
the
stuff? It would
applications
be
are gonna,
transferred, it'd only be 87,000, and 13 would always go to them. Something like that. Does that make sense to you?
Well, it would be nice
Chief
not to
Matthews?
have to
Yeah,
actually
Chief Matthews?
write the grant, because, I mean, that's
that
just one
application.
more thing to do, you
And-
know?
and
so that would be
honestly,
great.
Those applications are gonna get a little bit more complicated. We've had some items that come up, not with you.
What's the budget?
And that definitely could have happened, and I did argue to put those two buckets together and do them all, and then I got volunteered to be on that team. Since I wanted to talk about it, then I can go do that, and that would be,
Well, will you
so I can work on it, yeah.
So that was the recommendation, correct, Mr. Chairman, that they was gonna make it a budgetary item to go to spay and neuter every year instead of a contribution. You see what I'm talking about?
Okay,
Just make it part of the animal control budget.
Okay.
You wouldn't have to write it.
So my
Yeah.
concern though,
But it is not there.
I know, my concern is that it's not there yet, and can you inquire about that and make sure that
Well, so, like,
Commissioner Shove, Chairman Shove, understands that that needs to take place? It's just a swap in the numbers, but it's the same money. But it
So-
guarantees that we can get these services done.
I don't think, we can discuss the logistics of that later.
I believe that is
Okay.
for community spaces, not for animal control spaces.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And
So, yeah, the mechanism that you're,
I think
yeah, I can work on that. But there's another thing from the budget that I'd like to, put on the table.
So to be clear, to survey the community spay and neuter to help with the feral cats and things like that for the strays, to take care of that problem, since we changed the way we're taking in animals or cats and not taking in cats and just spaying them and returning them. That was what that was for. So we do have some work to do on that part of it. But yeah, go ahead with your question first. Go ahead, finish your statement.
So, at budget, I was asked about the animal control budget, because I serve on both this ad hoc as well as the budget. And a lot of the commissioners had concerns about the cost. And so as we're looking at the cost per animal is significant. And especially as we look across other counties, we're still significant. And although we want to consider, we will continue to improve on the animal control shelter. We're also going to look at bids to see if we can make future, but we are putting out a proposal. Some counties are coming in and telling us they're paying $350 an animal. We are breaking $800 right now. And the will of the commission is not $800. And as much as I can talk about how great all of these efforts are, my fellow commissioners cannot go back to their constituents and tell them it's $800 an animal or that we're breaking $800,000.
Do we know why it's 800?
I mean, I can share the budget with you. You can look through the animal.
Salaries, probably.
So I just want to tell you that is out there, and it's nothing that would be in place this year, but it's definitely in the works to just see where we can go and what can happen.
Any more discussion on the budget?
I think you, Joe, what are you doing?
Well,
Well, that's good.
yeah,
I
go ahead.
What are you doing now? You're just doing the vaccines when you come in, or are they doing B1 problems?
So everything is fully vaccinated, and that all the recommendations that was made is what they're doing.
So they're doing.
I'm gonna call the point of order 1 second just to go back in session, because this is gonna roll smoother if we go on to the next item and say a brief from Lieutenant Matthews and of where we are today, and that gets us back on track to continue answering your question. If that's okay. No, I'd like to hear more about what is currently exactly going, and then if this is part of your question you're asking. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, we're back.
Yes, we are back in session. All right.
I had contacted Lieutenant Carnley to get an update today. Just getting the update, he had told me that everything in the protocol as far as the animals and how they're treating and stuff is going, as he told me, it's going well. He said everything that we have is vaccinated in the shelter. As upon the recommendation of the study that was done, we initially had 72 kennels available for the dogs at the facility. That number now is 42 kennels, and that was taken for the recommendation that each dog should have access to 2 kennels. One maybe to use the restroom and one to be over here. So that did reduce our capacity down to 42, but through the programs that has been implemented, being able to call people and start making connections, stuff like that, everything's been working out, starting that way good. They hadn't had many problems yet. Not that I know of, not right today. They only had to euthanize, I think you said 6 animals last month, something like that. I was trying to remember what he said. Is that right? Numbers. Euthanization, the 5 cats and the 6 dogs. Okay. So that's not bad. It's not, still where we want to be, but it's better. As far as the cats, UT has installed all the portals that they said they would do. They'll come down. They are installed. And of course, it reduced our cat population that we've got to where we've got 17 kennels available for them. The other information, the fear-free training, Lieutenant Carlak is taking that as we speak. He's going through that right now with the scheduling of the other employees scheduled to take it as the classes come available and they can schedule it. Our third third full-time officer will come online. Lieutenant Carlak said July. He graduates from the academy and has had some of the training, but he will be available full-time starting in July is what that was. So I guess that started in the budget too. So at that point, we will be fully staffed as far as on the officer side with 3 animal control officers part-time workers, we're holding on that. Right now, we still have the two young ladies up front, that's been there a while and is working. If the funding gets approved, for the other two, then they'll hire them just as quick as they can find somebody who would like to do it. They're all working, trying to work out the, plans, for the volunteers and the, inmates, to be able to come up with a proper schedule to, the inmates will, 8 to 2, 8 to 3, and then after that, take them back, and then we'll have volunteers come in.
Can I ask you a question? So, is it the plan that if budget is approved, that those two part-timers can start immediately in the, implementation of volunteers and whatever will shortly thereafter start right away?
Yeah, because at that point, one of the young ladies or young men that fill the position, is going to be, take over those duties of the volunteers, coordinating volunteers coming in.
And the hours then will change almost immediately?
Yes, we got, like I said, the recommendation was to extend the hours, so that's going to be our understanding, with the two new people that come on, the hours will be extended, and so the animals won't have such a long time with no contact, with no human contact.
So the targets will still be right after budget?
Yes,
happens.
like I said, just as long as we can get the people hired, and like I said, had a lot of interest, in the volunteer portion of it. I've had, probably at least 15 people come up to me, inquiring, what about this volunteer program? What are we going to do? I want to walk the dog. I want to do this. So everything's coming up.
And what is the proposed, salary for the, part-timers?
Yeah, that was the, I think it was 70,000, so that would be $35,000 a piece. So a yearly salary.
Somebody talking about was including benefits now, because there are benefits included to.
If they're going to go into, let's say, I did
Even
not know they
full-time,
decided
there's some
that.
benefits.
Yeah, normally part-time is just part-time, it's just usually the hourly rate with no benefits. If they go to, full-time, then at that point is when the benefits come in.
See, I've asked that question, to our finance guy, and he said even at part-time, there is some benefits that have to be considered, and I did not understand
He's
what.
talking about, unless he's talking about,
So, if I may,
holiday pay or something of that nature.
so I know like at the libraries, we have part-time workers there, and we give them holidays. And we also give them, like when we have, weather, if we have part-time workers, and that week we had out for weather, our library part-time, we paid them that week.
So
Now, I don't have anything to say about that
building
policy.
closes,
I'm just saying.
Their control, well, in this case, they still have to go.
And
There's animals there.
We also,
Somebody does.
the part-time at the library, we also pay them for other items too, like
Well,
here and there.
So
So,
we need to check into that, because that will have to be publicized sometime.
Yeah, there's probably the uniforms we're talking about, and it would require them to wear, certain things, and they may be considered we require, then we're usually the ones that will pay for it and have it done. But as far as, health insurance or something of that nature,
It's like a shirt or something that
that's
shows the name.
what the sheriff decides.
Yeah.
That's just more money.
I'm sure there'll be a.
It is what the sheriff decides, it could be small.
and if you want to go through, I mean, we could still incur on the job entry with part-time workers, so that is a cost that we bear the burden of if it happens, for part-time. So, I mean, there's different things, so
Yeah,
there's no need to.
specific, but he was just like wondering if it was,
There are things.
what the amount would be for the hourly rate, but.
It's probably them. I would foresee, it just depends. Now, your department head, once again, the sheriff can do basically whatever he wants to. They belong to say this, that, and other. But if the sheriff says, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, it's what?
The reason why I'm asking is just so when it.
Part your hourly rate when it's time for it.
Yeah, I want it said publicly so that
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
generate interest with people, so that you can have some opportunity
I'll bring
to
it
match
back
some good
next
people and
meeting.
stuff like that.
That's why I might email you.
That's fine, and just make sure that it is understood what David was talking about. We said, no, there are benefits that aren't thought of by regular, means, not like vacation and, stuff like that, but something else that he was considering, and it may be like insurance for covering them for
Maybe
being a
workers'
county
comp
employee or
insurance.
something, something like that
He's
maybe, I don't
probably,
know.
knowing David, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, so just inquire that so that y'all can have a real number that is verified by him that is okay to say. Because it will be closer to posted approval time by next meeting anyway, so maybe we'll know something.
What a question
Yeah.
about Mr. Carlacci. We've been meeting for a year, and he's never been to a meeting. Is he, like, ever gonna come?
Don't know, he has obligations on when we meet. He's usually out at the schools or at other programs that he's doing. He goes to the Masons and the Shriners and different things like that also. So at the times that we choose to meet, he usually has other meetings and
Well,
stuff.
he meets once a month.
I understand. But he's very busy himself with other obligations, and like I said, his schools are 6 or 8 that he done last month, I think it was.
Well, Mr. Chairman, would you consider changing the date? I'm flexible.
I'll tell you what, please offer him an invitation from us to, okay,
I will.
okay,
Again.
I think
Okay.
it's important.
and I guess in your invite to him, asking if there's a different evening that he could meet other than a Monday, and maybe we'll see if we can work with him on that. We're hoping to do that.
I'll be glad to pass that along.
Or we can just pop in for it and make sure stuff.
And if I may, Danny Hurst has retired,
Oh, yeah.
and he was over, as the captain over the overseeing animal control. And the new person that's going to take over is the Captain Tommy Greer. He's a long-time veteran of the sheriff's office, been around a long time, knows a lot of people, very personable. Well, I say that, it's going to be Carl McCoy. I keep getting those two. Carl is going over the SROs, and he's also been assigned animal control. Tommy, Lieutenant Greer, is coming over to Lawrence. He's coming from SRO over to Lawrence Division, Civil Process, and the Records Division. But he also has shown an interest of being available or something if needed too. So he's really a good man. But I apologize, but Captain Carl McCoy, he's been around a long time too. Very professional, very nice to talk with.
He was at SRO with Henderson High School.
Yes, he was. And he was over the SRO division for a while before they decided to switch to, they do that every so often.
So he's still doing SRO and animal control?
Yes,
Seems like a lot on this plate.
he had his full package the other day in his office, of information that he was sitting there going through, referenced, the recommendations that was coming out, their booklet that he was reading. He's contacted me several different occasions, asked him questions and stuff. So he's hard to beat. Danny was great, fantastic, but Carl's very in tune and wants to do what he can do from his position.
Does he have any kind of background with animals, or is that
No.
position up more administrative?
Administrative.
He's, let's see, numbers.
Right, but he's learning, the ins and outs of, like I said, he's even looked at, the minutes and stuff, reading up on them and stuff. That's just what type of supervisor he is, because he wants to be as knowledgeable as he can, and so that's what he's working in. Like I said, with everything that's been going on at the sheriff's office lately, with the new courthouse opening and everything like that, he was taking time out of his day to making that a priority, start reading some more and stuff, so when he gets those chances, he does. So I'm very excited. I've been working with him for a while now, and I don't have anything but good things to say about him.
I know, Eric, was very heavily involved in writing up the, proposed changes from Dr. Pisano. Is it safe to assume that he's doing a very good handoff to Carl with all this information?
For him to be brought up to speed, Deputy Craddock, took a special interest himself in this. Back when he was a deputy, he used to come over to the shelter quite a bit. His adopted animals, matter of fact, when trainings coming up, so he's took a special interest, and I believe that he will continue to have that interest, as we go along. Like I said, they're trying to finish up the, protocols and stuff, trying to get that finished out and get the final draft on it in order to, get those policies done and get them to the committee. They've been working, very hard on that, going to sum that up and get it done, so.
But he's working with Carl.
Yes, Carl and him work well together. So I'm just like, positive things, really positive, because you're going to have, and Danny was excellent with animals also, he was a big believer in animals, but you're going to have people that's overseeing things that are going to give 110%, because that's what type of people they are.
Is, what other, do you have any other, to add to your brief?
Let's see, we talked about the dogs on the vaccination, everybody said the portals, the cats. IT is continuing to working, trying to get all the departments together for the animal control page, and also, like I said, also talked to the
IT?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dwayne Denise, he's on IT, he's over IT. He is, continuing to work on that with his thousands of other projects that he's also doing, but they, you already know, I think from the last meeting, that the new shelter management program's in, working like a clock. The pet finder's up and running, no glitches, no anything, it's just boom, 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 boom. Again, as last time, every, kennel that we've got, you will have the information about the animal on it. Just this new program's just, it's a lot better than the old one. I think I told you last time, this saved us $3,000 a year. For getting rid of the old one and going to this new one. But, he wanted me to say that is up and running and doing well.
How long until the website?
He said approximately 4 more weeks is what he said.
And is he working currently with our IT department?
I had told him about, we wanted one on the main page too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's talked to him, but I haven't got a full detail.
Can you ask for next month to give us, because that may hit about the time that it's going to launch? No, on like, you said about 4 more weeks maybe before it launches, and you may be telling us, it's going to launch tomorrow, in the next meeting, or it just launched yesterday. And hopefully when it launches with ours also.
Yes.
And maybe you can report that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just, well, to us it becomes common sense, but I'm hoping that.
Yeah.
But I will reiterate.
As long as they're talking, I'll trust what happens. Robert Tuttle's a good man too, and hopefully you can get him to
I heard guts.
Maybe hopefully he'll talk with Robert Tuttle on getting it to our page as well, or
Yes.
And I'm not sure how that goes. And commissioners, do you guys know if it's the mayor's responsibility to change that page, or does it go through our request to Robert, or?
The IT department reports to the mayor.
Okay, so maybe you could ask Robert to ask the mayor and coordinate that.
If it's okay with Chairman, I'd be glad to also touch base with Marysville on that.
Sure, I think it'd be in everybody's best interest. I don't see it being a problem. It's just a coordination thing.
Yes, sir. But other than that, like I said, it's just a continuation of, as we go along, it's getting everything implemented, the cleaning supplies that we talked about. The new cleaning supplies is being utilized in addition to the older cleaning supplies until we can get all the older supplies. Yeah. Because it was, $8,000 just sitting there in that, that we've been using. Definitely want to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. And like I said, it's a good product. We're just, like I said, going on to a better one that's been recommended. So, but that's being done as we speak now also. But right now, that's all. I've got nothing major to report or problems that I'm aware of. Like I said, everything's been working towards where we want to be. It just takes a little time to get everybody in. And like I said, upon the budget being hopefully approved and passage on some things submitted, and we can continue on to make the improvements.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
So I have 2 questions from budget. Some of the budget committee members, they wanted to discuss the request for 2 new animal control vans or vehicles. So they didn't know how many you have, how old they are, how many animals they hold, if you could give us an idea of that.
Okay, I will get that information to you. I was driving, I think mine was a 2016 at the time I was over there, and that's going on 10 years old, that particular vehicle. We've been using older vans in order to make the transports that have high mileage on them, and sometimes they'll start, and sometimes they won't. But that might be what we're talking about. I would have to get the exact which ones they're wanting to replace. I can just relate to you for its experience. The single cab trucks that they got them in, it's not good for the amount of equipment that is needed out in the field and stuff to be divided. So that we're talking about the extended cabs or even the four-wheel ones. I don't know. That's the sheriff's call and budgetary items on that. So, but I can get that information for you.
We didn't get it. And I know that when I see like Hendersonville, when they're driving around, they have a very specialized looking vehicle. And I don't know if that's what we're talking about. And I didn't know how many, if of the 4 deputies that are there, Mr. Tarla giving over, if they're all out patrolling, or how many inmates there are in the shelter, or can you tell me?
Yeah, my understanding is they've got up to 10 inmates working at the shelter. The officers goes out into the fields and answer calls, and then rotates back in. So it just depends on call volume and on what assignments are. We transport animals, like say the Ball State, when they're in doing their classes, then we've got a certain time we have to have animals down there for their class and stuff like that. So we're assigning an officer for that transfer. Or we got to go to get the dogs, like I said, on the spade and neuter up in Franklin, then they have to be transported, up there. So that time's a deputy up for that. If you took at the time of working the amount of personnel you got with days off and things of that nature, you usually have 2, if not 3, that may be available. But when you talk about mandatory training that has to be done and stuff like that, and all the different other things that come up, and when we were down, some days Tarlacky was on one at animal control.
So I want to ask you just straight up that we're getting 2 new trucks. That doesn't sound like you have 2 guys or 2 employees for you to drive them with vacations and all that.
Yeah, no, we're replacing. Probably, I'm assuming. You know what happens when I assume things, but that we're replacing the older vehicles. And it's time for them to be replaced because of the mileage and stuff. But I can't get you that information.
I was just like I said, they were wondering about what we were replacing and what they look like. If they're the the typical animal control vehicles that's not.
Box on the back.
Well, yes, it's a specialized, and and I didn't know if Team Shelter recommended a specific type of transport, or if we've asked them.
I was trying to remember the report.
And I do see Hendersonville out with their vehicle, but I never see a sheriff's vehicle. I don't know. Maybe we've been
We're
picking
all
them
over
up.
the county.
I mean, can I go over? I just haven't seen them that look like that. That was
Right.
all.
No, we don't have the ones per se with the boxes that you put them in. We went with the open bed.
And then,
Which is actually nicer than.
Yeah, you go.
Boxes don't have.
I don't like the boxes. I was going to say, personally, I don't like the boxes because they've got a smaller space and they're confined in there.
And I'm not asking about what,
Right.
they wanted to know for cost and.
Gotcha.
And
I'll get that
what
information
you
to
need.
you. I'll send it in
Yeah,
an
just
email
send
to
it
you
to
so
us,
you'll have it.
yeah.
But that Hendersonville's got some of the box trucks. We got the open bed type again, and we also got the vented windows that so the air can flow through.
And then I'll check and see what best practice is.
Mm-hmm.
If you could check, that'd be great.
I have that.
And then excellent, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that's.
One question you had brought up about the transporting of the animals like the Ball State into spay-neuter like Kentucky. Would it be beneficial that maybe a volunteer and a part-time employee could help transport versus you using a sheriff as high cost? And could that be something that could
We could look at, but when you start trying to use volunteers for every aspect of the business, you get into situations where
how much? And I don't know. I know that I'm not in the working zone, but when the animals are transported, say for the volunteer state to be examined for the students, is it something that one of the part-time people can take the animals instead of, you know, one of the
If they're
sheriffs?
available at that hours.
Yeah, because that's expensive, using a sheriff. to-
Understand, but understand what you've got, animal control is the sheriff's office. Deputies are assigned to animal control, and there's a reason for that. It's because of the enforcement aspect. You have some agencies around that they have, animal officers, but they're not law enforcement. They can't make arrests, they can't take an animal, they can't do this. Then they have to get the deputy or officer of that jurisdiction to come over to where they're at and then proceed. And like I said, that adds extra time and all kinds of other stuff when you have to work like that. But the reason, like, so when the sheriff's taking it over, this goes all the way, there's an agreement that was made between him, county commission, and Payne Thompson. And they made the agreement, and we've been there.
Well, I don't dispute that, I was just wondering if there was, you know, a way to relieve some of the sheriffs from having to do things like transporting to his class.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great if we had, some volunteers that would do all the transporting and stuff like that. Again, there's all kinds of situation that comes up in reference to volunteers and showing up and not showing up, inclement weather, and, you know, we gotta have the animals at a location. And a lot of times, these places, just like the veterinarians, may still be open, and we gotta get them there, but volunteers can't come in because, you know, bad weather. There's all kinds of things of that nature. It's just decide, you know, have to decide, you know, when the sheriff's, office in charge of animal control, then it will be run a certain way with the deputies. And then if the county would like to go another way, and privatize or something at that time, whoever your private people are, just running to make changes or whatever the case may be. But like I said, that's just what we're on.
I'm getting my own cue. I think one of the main things to consider is this is all to do with regards to bringing in non-deputies as employees, and the potential for where this could go is limited and in the future. And a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, they may realize that these non-sheriff employees are very valuable and they can reduce their costs and use these trained law enforcement men in different capacities because they realize that there is more jobs in here that they could do and it could grow and change from there, but we're starting somewhere with 2 part-time employees for now. And whether they turn into somebody who can drive the truck to do transfers, something like that is to be seen and to always be considered and somewhere we could visit in the future and another good reason to keep us going. No,
You talk about proactive versus reactive. If the other smaller but very much important details could be reassigned or something, then you can take the officers and put them out in the community more.
Right.
And, you know, that's how you get out there and solve cases and find things and stuff like that. People do call in, but if you got more time to get out there and look, you come across stuff yourself too. But that's all in the future.
Okay, any more on that, guys? So, moving on to new business, it's kind of an echo of this, but Commissioner Boyd, did you have anything to add on team shelter plan progress versus the brief from Lieutenant Matthews on what they've already implemented? Was this for future discussion of things we'd like to see, or?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Denone?
I don't, but I would encourage the people that are here tonight, even the
Audience and others?
residents, to look at what we've covered and look at this information and kind of cultivate questions and in their asking when they're signing in, kind of look at and ask questions and next time. And kind of start populating questions about what they're hearing, you know, because they don't have the opportunity to ask questions
Right.
as you can. So if we could, I could encourage that. That would also open up dialogue for the citizens as well to understand better. Because I'm learning as well, and I know that they probably have a million questions.
Sure.
So I just wanted to bring that up.
No, it's a great point, and on that note, to the public, anybody that's listening online or in the audience tonight, any of the commissioners or folks that you see up here will be glad to ask a question on your behalf. Typically, your time to speak is during public comments only. We try to run it like Robert's Rules of Meeting, and you do not engage the audience unless we do a special suspension of the rules to ask for an expert opinion or something from the audience, so they knows more than we do. But we'll always ask questions if you submit them ahead of time, something that you're wondering about. Just reach out to us. Did you have anything to add?
Well, my biggest concern with the teen shelter, which I did say, like I said, I'm thrilled with all the progress and the things. I know it takes time to implement the changes. You can't do it, you know, trying to hire people and all that. But my biggest concern is reducing the shelter intake by not accepting animals. And, you know, those animals, again, this looks great, euthanasia, like 5 cats, 6 dogs. But what about the ones that were abandoned? And my calls have doubled of people being turned away from animal control. And, you know, again, they weren't offered a foster program, they weren't offered, you know, any kind of assistance other than go somewhere else. And just like the 5 kittens I took today, I know they came to Sarah today too, they were 5 2-week-old kittens and people were 15 dropped them on the side of the road. And they were turned away from animal control, they wouldn't even let them in the door. And so, you know, there's a lot of animals falling through the cracks here. And again, all these changes, I mean, I'm thrilled that people are talking about it and that we're, you know, finally trying to vaccinate and that type of thing. But let's not be blinded and say, hey, we've really reduced our numbers because we're not taking them in. So those animals, they're still dying. They're dying on the street. You're just not seeing it. And, you know, so that's my concern with the teen shelter program. Like I said, I'm glad we're doing all those upgrades and
respond to this, so we'll know.
Sure.
She was in the queue first.
No, go ahead.
Reference the cats, and we've talked about this before, and it's the same thing when I was over there running animal control. We do not take kittens in because we do not have the facility or the personnel in order to properly take care of them. We're not going to take them home, because if we take them home, number one, you got to get somebody to volunteer to do that may work there, and they're not going to do it, because the county has to pay them from the time they leave the shelter until they come back the next morning, because you're doing something in reference to animal control.
so where did they go?
Wherever they need to go, to your place, to somebody else, to a volunteer, to somebody, hold on, my name is Chairman, for them to try to take care of. And like I said, a lot of these times they're saying on this particular instance that the mama cat allegedly was killed, but a lot of times you have our citizens that go out there and they're picking these kittens up off the side of the road, and mamas are out, and they're removing them from where they're at. They're not supposed to do that either. It happens numerous times. So they recommend, and you talk to Dr. Jamar, when you come across small kittens like that, leave them in place.
So that is the recommendation that we got from Team Shelter. But I see your point. What has typically been the response? I bring in a batch of kittens and say, I don't know what to do with these cats. I found them. What do you say to them?
If they are young, where you have to bottle feed them around the clock, depending on how old they are and stuff, is that we give them the numbers and stuff to other facilities that may have the personnel or the means in order to take care of those
Is one of
animals.
the main ones?
It's just whoever else that we've got numbers on. And it's just like when Diane gets full of dogs, she will refuse to take a dog in because she's full.
I'm not the animal control.
It don't make any difference.
I'm
We're not going to argue about it.
Hold on.
We're not going to argue about
this,
this.
Sheriff. I want to understand the procedure here.
Yeah,
I don't want to back and forth.
It's the procedure. They want us, and we're not doing it. We can't do it. Now, the county, and I'll say this, on record, the county commission wants to give us 5 or 10 more people, and they want to expand that building up there and spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars that it takes in order to equip it and staff it. We would be more than glad to bend over backwards and do it. Okay? It's just like Williamson County. They have a vet, 2 part-time vets, full staff room and stuff. You don't have that here. You will never have that here until you step up and fund it.
So
That's all it is to it.
so if somebody brings in kittens that you can't take care of because it's policy and because it's been recommended that we don't take kittens, how many different numbers do you have that you could call on?
Just whoever they've got over
My
there.
question-
It's like, did Sarah take the cat? Sarah didn't even take the cat. Why? Because she probably wasn't able to take it.
My question is to the point that was made by Diane, that if your numbers are getting halved and hers are getting doubled, it's just putting the burden on somebody else. I want to make sure that we have enough places that you can call on record, or at least mention this for the public to realize that they need to put their name forward if they're willing to take kittens and bottle feed cats. That needs to be stated here publicly to come give you their number
We're
at
going
the
to
animal
false
control.
draw here.
Right, and I know that some of the programs that Dr. Pisano suggested implementing. So if there is a shortage of people, it needs to be said. If there's not a shortage of people, why is she getting double the amount of calls? It's something that we need to discuss, not contentiously, but it needs to be heard. Both sides need to be heard. If she's getting overwhelmed, then you need to push back and say, call somebody else on the list. If you're like, you're the only one on the list, then we got a problem.
Well,
So
they're
that's
not
what I'm
the only one on the list. They're giving, they give whatever personnel that's available or assistance are doing that. But we are not able to take them there.
Again, this is not an attack on the sheriff's
I'm
office.
not saying it's
Or on
an
you,
attack.
Joe, and again, we've been friends for a long time. So, this is just, what I'm saying is, how can we address this? Because with the, and this is, the teen shelter has recommended this to you, to turn them away. So, again, I don't think that's a very good recommendation because it makes the public go against the sheriff's department. They handle the sheriff's department.
I cannot imagine Teen Shelter saying turn away kittens.
They do.
They did.
They don't.
They
They
said, did
said
they not
if you
find them a place
out
to
under a
go?
bush somewhere, the mama's probably somewhere nearby.
Well, they said don't
take
kidnap
them.
them.
But once somebody takes them,
Did they
the
say for
problem
us to
is,
turn them away and throw
do
them?
you take them back to where you got them from, or do you now proceed with your plan of, you just stole these kittens from their mother? The mother may not be there when you bring them back. So that's where this gap is.
And they want you to take your healthy
It's
cat.
public education
Yeah.
about don't take them in the first place, but then once they do, what do you do with them then?
But it's just heartbreaking, it's kitten season. I mean, it's kitten season.
Right, no, I get it.
I mean, you can sit there and watch them die, so that Teen Shelter.
And I mean, I've volunteered before and I've gotten calls, come get kittens, feed them all night, bottle feed them. How soon can we get a volunteer program up? I'm sure some of these people want to take these kittens right now, and they would take your calls. When
So my
safe
point,
place is full, these folks here would say, give me some kittens. Plenty of people.
my
And what-
point is making sure that these numbers are given is why
Wait a
I'm
minute,
bringing it.
that's what our home networking is about, right?
Right.
When we can't take a dog, we
Reholding
can't
and
do
fostering
this.
network.
That's the whole thing behind starting that.
Mhm.
Same thing there.
So can I don't want to assume there's not enough people in that new program, but is that the case, or are we asking for more?
It's a growing program.
It's a growing program,
You
so,
started and go.
so you're hearing it here first, folks. If you're willing to volunteer to feed kittens, go submit your number. If you're willing to foster dogs as well, go submit your number to their network that they're building.
You have
Is that fair?
Through the home network.
Is that a fair statement there? Because I do not want one of our community partners to get overwhelmed more than any other. And
I mean, it's not just me, it's a lot of them.
I don't want anyone of them to get overwhelmed any more than any other.
But a lot of the nonprofits now are seeing that they're, you know, not just me, Sumner County, even Sarah, I mean, we're seeing the extra animals come, which, you know, I mean, that's great. I mean, we're here to, but again, we have even more limited resources than.
And this is something that I don't know how the nonprofits work to know if their grants, are given based on their numbers or their employees or the amount of animals coming through there. And if they increase because the animal control decreases, I don't understand all of that. And that's where we need feedback from the citizens on that. You were first. Go ahead.
I just have, if we could get an idea to quantify what's being said here in numbers, is there a log when people come in and we don't have room or it's getting through something? Are they logging it?
I would have to ask Chris what they're doing at this particular time.
So that way we would know what, safe
Which
places
ones of
talking
those are
about.
going to there and which ones
Or
are
not,
just
no,
going
not
there?
which ones. I don't.
What's being calculated.
Yeah, like the numbers that we turn on, and not where they're going. You can't keep up
No,
with
I'm not saying
Just
where, I'm
it's
saying
like, you know,
apples to apples compared.
today, there was, 4 people that came in, and, we said, that's a 12-pound cat. You need to go find somewhere else to put it. It's a healthy cat. We found it on the side of the road. Or take it back. Whatever it is. If we just had some idea how many animals. When this committee started, we had a wait list. And we talked about how big's the wait list. Well, this is a similar thing. It's kind of like a wait list we're never going to answer. So if we could continue to know what's on the wait list that we're never going to answer, that might help quantify what's going around.
You'll never be able to take every animal in
I
Sumner County.
understand that.
But this is what the majority of the people want them. You don't have the building or the staff going to do it.
Oh,
I mean, there will be.
I've been talking to Murray County. They're a no-kill shelter. I understand. I've been talking to other people.
Classify no kill.
Yeah, well, they did, and they said it's very expensive and it's cruel and it's heartless.
No, they say there's no kill.
No such thing.
There's no such thing.
I know there isn't, but they're
that's what they
trying in
advertise.
Murray.
It's a good guy, bad guy thing.
Yeah. So I know you can't quantify. I just want. She's saying that there's animals going. If we could just like.
I'm just saying we need to, we should, wherever they go, they need to be, that's the point of this committee, so that they go to a good place, whether they're euthanized or not. Again, you can't save every animal, and we're so far behind from what we should have done years ago. Fosters and spay neuter, and I mean, we're so far behind on all of that, and involving the public. There's so many things, these no-kill shelters, because they have a lot of resources, they have other people that help. And again, they've done, education, they're going to the schools, not with a donkey, but they're going to teach about animals, and, you know what I'm saying?
And I don't think we're, like when you say we're so far behind, I don't think that's it. Because I would say that we owe a lot to our spay and neuter program for all the vaccination, or all the alterations they've done over the years. Because if they hadn't been doing that, we would be so far behind.
Sure.
So we're not, we're in.
And all the
We're in,
There's work to do.
there is still work to do, but we are in a good place because of, we have
It's the shelters that
that.
take in those that are spayed and neutered, it's the spay and neuter, it's the public, educating people. We've done none of that. And again, that we're just now talking about vaccinating animals on intake. Think about that.
All right, I'm gonna call point of
let's call
order
it.
just to get us back in order. I want the comments to be made to be in the form of questions or suggestions and not going tit for tat, going back and forth between committee members, because that's not helping us make progress. I want to hear you, and if you have a suggestion or a question, I want you to present it so that we can work on it or figure out a way to get an answer next month or assign it as a task to do, or for somebody in the audience to take up the back and help there. Please try to think like that and then finish your statement if you have more to say, because I think what you're saying is worth saying. I just want to correct the way it's being said. Okay.
And again,
No, but I wanna tell you to finish
No,
your thought. If you have more to say, I want you to finish your thought.
no, I just, again, I know everybody's trying to make an effort, and I just hope that we can, I like her suggestion, how can we keep up with what is being turned away? I think a list, or, just so we know, what is really being.
And it is so like an extension of that wait list.
And it's not
That we were.
It's not that attacking, it's just to see, where are we really? And those animals that are being killed, what can we do to get them a better?
If I could suggest, Lieutenant Matthews, perhaps, something, you tell me how hard this would be to implement, or if this is something pretty basic, because it's maybe hard to do something like that already. With your list of, what you call them, like fostering or rehoming,
Yes, network.
volunteer network or whatever, could you show us that list, how many people are in it, and then just kind of, almost like give tallies to who's getting what, and it can almost be a recognition of who is helping you the most and who has capacity, who has more to give and more to offer. You're not utilizing this one as much as you should. This one is really knocking out, and it would be a point of good recognition for those resources, I think, but it would also make us aware of how active you are, or wow, we got an overabundance of volunteers, we're in good shape, and it'll help us put out information to the public on we need more of these services available or something like that. Is that
Yes.
possible to even ask about?
Getting there, again, depending on the budget, the person that's gonna be in charge of that is gonna be one part-time personnel for the thing. What I was talking about is our home situation, when we get a dog or a cat or any animal that comes in that we're not accepting or for whatever reason don't have room for, whatever the case, then instead of, like owner surrenders that come in, instead of them doing that, we've got this site that you can go to, and it's got these people listed on the site that may be willing to assist. That's where we're at this particular point in time.
But are you giving the public those people's names, or are you just saying we can't take them, go to the site and find somebody who can?
Probably give them the site, because we cannot give anybody, we can't give information out about somebody or home numbers and stuff like that unless we get their permission to do so.
Well, so my vision is to have like, business cards, if you will, just for lack of a better thing, that the public would volunteer to hand out, and that's them of their own free will giving it over to that, and then you could even have, inside your little window where people are coming in and batch of kittens, I didn't take them in, but I gave them to Mary, check mark, Mary got that's kittens.
That's what we do with
We
the
log it
rescues.
in later or something like that and keep track of.
That's what we do with the rescues. We have, used to be 30-something rescues that we deal with. A small portion of them will be the majority of it, pull just all kinds of animals all the time, just like Sarah, pulled all kinds of animals from us. And then at the end of the year, that's what the numbers will be totaled up, and we know that this rescue pulled this many, this rescue pulled this many, and stuff like that. Now, going back to the animals that may be turned away or whatever the case would be, yeah, they can do that. That shouldn't be a big problem. Let's put in a date and time, and 9 kittens were turned away, one was a week old or something like that. Again, it's all staffing, notes, and putting the thing in the system in order to keep track of all that.
Would that be helpful information for this?
Just
community?
numbers, I'm just trying to quantify what I hear to see, what we can do, and without knowing a number.
I'm wanting to get numbers, but also have a report that helps them realize who's getting how many, so that it's fixing the problem at the same time it's reporting the numbers that you're asking for. It's a challenge, I get it. And I want to come to you, I just want to stay on this topic because it's getting asked out. And if it's on this topic, I want you to go ahead and speak. I just don't want you to change it. I know you're very patient.
Well, a lot of this is education.
Right, it's gonna take time.
Right. So, I would suggest, and if they would be willing, is maybe nonprofit should rescue animals to come and speak for maybe 10 minutes, do a presentation on what they do and how they do it and what they're able to do and how do they garner fostering and things like that to educate, because we have people watching online who don't know, and so if we could be an education arm of that as well, I think that it may help with a lot of this, what you're talking about, because I think we're and I don't disregard anything anybody's saying, but as I'm listening to you all, you know, you're not doing it and you're taking it, and I'm not picking on you, but you know, you're picking up the slack for the fact that they're not pulling in, but I think it's important for people who are coming to the shelter to understand what the resources are about and to hear them, see them, and do a presentation if they're willing at our meeting, because we're advertising it and people do come. And I'd like to see that happen.
That's a great idea.
We could kind of put that into our little wheelhouse.
Have a 5 to 10 minute speech about what they do and what they can offer the county. And we can take notes and the public can hear it and it could be recorded.
And just going back to, again, our website, everything listed on it. That's the same through our fosters that don't mind to be listed on the website. These are our foster personnel that's currently available here in Sumner County. This is our volunteers that may be available. Again, a lot of that education can be done via the website, with updates and things. Once it gets up and running, that's where all your updates are going and stuff like that. That was my understanding of the plan, is to have this, not just this little thing, but a large website that has all this information of every program, how to go through it, how to get to it, and to me, it seems reasonable, and please correct me if anybody thinks otherwise, to have that listed also on there. And again, as they come into the animal control course of education, as the officers go out into the community and talk with the people on the cost of self-education, the meeting cat challenge, we used to have those information there at the sheriff's office out there for the public to have, and we say, hey, take a look at this, you know, in reference to cats. But I think that's going to be a big help once the website gets up and running. Boom, click of a button, you're going to have all this information at your fingertips.
That would be an extension and better ongoing for what I think you're suggesting. But in the meantime, we've got 2 or 3 months possibly that we could utilize having 1 or 2 people each meeting be a spotlighted guest. They just offer, they get up and speak, they don't ask questions, they give a presentation on what they offer, and they're presenting it to the sheriff's department. They may already know the animal control, and they're presenting it to the public, and it's on video, what they're offering and what they can do, and then they sit down. It's not question and answer time. It's not, you know, back and forth. It's like comments. We just give a little grace for them to, because they already got 5 minutes here. We just give a little grace for one featured partner or something like that.
I see it
What
go
do
out,
you think about that?
it goes out in the community, and it could be, say, we're featuring XYZ tonight. Please, you know, if you'd like to hear more, please come, or you can listen to it online. That is a big deal, and I understand what he's saying, but... It
would help them not take as many, have to reject people that are bringing things that they shouldn't bring. They should bring it to this person that just spoke, and I saw it on TV last night or the computer. Yeah.
So, and I'm hearing what he's saying, and I'm thinking, okay, I got a little dog in my car, and this little dog doesn't belong to me, and I found it, and I'm going to animal control, and I'm frantic, I don't know what to do with this cat, dog, whatever. I'm not gonna sit there and go, I can't, you know, I'm not gonna do that, but if I can have education in the community about it, and continue to educate at the sheriff, and any of them, I think it would go a long way, because
Well,
education is key.
That was the goal with Dr. Vaughn's thing, is to keep them out of the shelter, so. Does that sound like beneficial, everybody, community
They're
agree?
not a shelter, they're an animal control facility.
Right, animal control, you're right.
They're-
You're right,
She's,
you're right.
you're safe like your animal. They have to learn the language.
Keep them out of animal control. You're right, because, I mean, I just said it wrong, so you're exactly right.
Now, just in the serial I made, and again, we're looking at, we had 72 available spots for animals for dogs.
Right now.
No, we did.
Oh,
On the recommendation of the study that was brought out, we're currently at 42. So you can't have it both ways.
right.
No,
No,
we're
the goal
gonna take
is,
animals and fill the shelter up.
no, the goal is to utilize our community partners.
That's what it's-
We've got to promote our community partners, so I think that's a good suggestion. Thank you, Commissioner Giuliani. Does anybody else have anything to say about that? Does anybody else have any other items they'd like to add or questions on our agenda? If not, I'll entertain one more motion. Second. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
got your budget,